Hey, what's going on there, Dice Rolls? Paul here, and I'll be your DM for a while. Today I want to talk to you about my 7 go-to books for random tables. Now, before I get into that, if you are brand new here to the channel, thank you for checking out. Appreciate you being here. Would love for you to be part of the community here. So go ahead and click that subscribe button down here, and that's exactly what will happen. So, random tables. I am fixated right now on random tables, to be honest with you. I'm kind of all about it. If you didn't see, I did a book walkthrough of the recent book that I've gotten on random tables, Astonishing Random Tables. You can check the video over here somewhere. But I want to show you some of the other books that I use, and then I'm going to go into other videos about when should a DM use random tables, and what should you be looking for, and all that kind of stuff. But today, like I said, we're going to stick with just the books that are my go-tos, and I may sprinkle a little DM advice as we go. The first one I use is called Maze Rats, and Maze Rats is a game unto itself. Milton, over at Questing Beast put this together, and I recently used this. This has some great tables in it, and it is a D6. So basically what you have here, I'll kind of hold it up right here, you have these charts right here, and the D6, you roll the D6 to see which column you're going to be in there, and then you roll the D6 to see which one you're going to get from that. So it has all kinds of things. It has treasure and equipment, it has the wild, it has let's see, the maze, if you're in a maze somewhere. But I'll tell you what, this was a lot of fun the other day. I used this. I had a player, and they went into a store, and I just said, hey, you can buy something if you want. And they said, yeah, I'm interested in maybe some magic items. Those are great. So the lady came out and gave her a magic rock. Now, this is a good tip. Give the players something that you don't even know what it does, which would then give you an excuse to roll on a random table later on, or the player roll on the random table later on. Because what happened was she wound up getting this magic rock. I had no idea what the magic rock does. I just said, hey, here's a magic rock, 50 gold pieces. You want to try it out? Sure. So she takes it, and they're going down in an elevator, and this was a new player, so I had to coach a little bit and say, well, you could use your magic rock, because what happened was the ropes got cut, the elevator started to fall, and there was a monk in there trying to wedge his staff in there, trying to keep it from falling. She says, well, I might as well try my magic rock. I said, well, go ahead and roll on the dice there. And she rolled the first dice, then rolled the second dice, and it wound up being a 6-foot giant, 6-foot obelisk, stone obelisk, which did not bode well for the group, because it just weighed down the elevator, and it started plummeting to the ground. And she had an extra sword. I don't know what she had, but she stuck it in there and managed to get the elevator safely down. But obviously, that obelisk was a great narrative thing there, where it changed the whole dynamic of the story, which put them into this crisis mode, and they had to figure it out. But that's the thing about random tables; it can do you good or maybe not so good. But it was a fun. I didn't know what it did until I rolled it up and just figured it out from there. But that could have a lot of good uses. Now that she knows what it does, well, she could use it for other things. But I think Maze Rats, a game unto itself, very good. But all the tables in here are fantastic. I love using those. And be sure to let your players roll. Yeah, you could roll them. It's fun. But you know what? Your players showed up to roll some dice, so let them roll them as well. Another book I have is Random Tables, Cities and Towns. This is a very good book as well. And it's by Dr. Tim Woods. And it has virtually everything you could possibly want. It has bard songs. That's right, bard songs. If there's a city and a town that you're in and there's a bard, well, what would you like to roll, right? So you go ahead and roll it, and it could be a Song of Rupert, the recounts of exploits of one Rupert, a local hero of legend who seems to have attained an unimaginable level of status and respect, the likes of which the characters could never achieve. And so Rupert then becomes an NPC in your story. It has D100s. It has barrel contents, right? So if you wanted to do that, you have vault and safe contents. Let's say they wanted to break into somewhere. Well, they could roll there on a D20, and they could find gold ingots. They could find family bones in an urn. They can find a dark phylactery of an ancient evil, right? So once again, great storytelling device. Random table, cities and towns. So if you're ever in a city or town, I love using this one to get things kind of juicy, right? Then I have the Lazy DM Companions by Sly Flourish. This is pretty much a staple. It travels with me as well. I don't travel with all of them, but the Maze Rats I definitely travel with, and I definitely travel with this book and the next book. But the Lazy DM's Companion is packed with all kinds of, and once again, the book itself is fantastic because it is a guide for, setting up your adventures, great DM advice. It's got things for like secrets and clues. So here you go. You have a little page here and just creating secrets and clues. And there's a D10 that says it could be character secrets, right? So if one of your characters needs a secret, have them roll on and say, okay, what dreams fill the character's rest? So in other words, you can say, hey, we're going to focus a little bit on your dreams, right? So what you have these things going on that's going to impact the story a little bit. Then you could look at historical events like what cruel lord was slain in this place, right? Let somebody come up with that. Let a player come up with that. You don't have to come up with all that. The players can come up with all that. And there's things for haunted lairs, right? You can find all kinds of things in there. And I've used this, like I said, quite a bit, especially around magic items. There's some really good magic item tables in there because the randomness allows because sometimes we get so set in our minds and set in our ways, we always go to the go-to things. Okay, you have a wand of this, or you have a staff of that. And these come up with incredible combinations that you can use that you would not think of on your own, but it adds a ton of flavor to your story. The other one is a cousin to this, or brother maybe, sister, is the Lazy DMs Workbook. And once again, tons of resources in here that they have. So you have monster tables, you have random dungeon monster tables, random town events. You just have random mundane items. So if you want to say, let's say you want to do mundane items. So you want to find something in a desk drawer. Well, you'd roll there and you could find a bowl or a bone or a statue or a spike. Okay. There could be single effect, single use, or daily. If you want to find a magic effect for one of those magic items we were talking about. But once again, it has all these tables in here, random traps. So if you need a random trap, hey, we got you covered right here. All kinds of random traps there. You could do a type, a flavor, and a trigger. So let's say you rolled and it's size. Right? That's the actual type of trap. It's scythes. Then you roll again, and it is diseased. Oh my, so now it's gotten worse. There are diseased scythes in there. And then the trigger is a child's toy. How terrible is that? You pick up the child's toy, and then suddenly scythes come out of the floor. These diseased scythes come out and get you. So once again, random tables give an incredible amount of flavor to a game that maybe needs it. And once again, I'll do a whole video on how to use random tables well in your game to where it doesn't suck up a lot of your time. This particular table here, this is Dungeons and Lairs, another book by Tim Woods, and this has a ton of good stuff in it. In fact, let me show you what I've done. I find that pre-doing some of this, right? What I love about this book is it takes you from the very beginning to the end. It is sequential. It starts off with, and I'll just show you this. It starts off with dungeon types, the current status of that dungeon, rumors about that dungeon. And let me show you. I'm going to do just a few of these. I've done a few of these already. So let me show you what this looks like. All right, let me show you the pre-work that I've done here because I'm just going to get creative with it and see what I come up with. So here's what I've started with. I've started with the type. It's a fortress, okay? Then I rolled up the condition of that is long lost. And then there are some rumors around that. The rumors are that it is a secret entrance to this location. There's unusual or supernatural weather occurrences around there. Could be elementals or ice methods. Now that doesn't make sense to you yet, but it will in just a second. Then there's a history of accidents, and I put there weather related. And then built by machine people. That's right, machine people, which immediately I go to Modrons. And the location is actually an iceberg. And so I have Modrons on an iceberg causing weather problems in a particular area. And so now the players have a place to go play around in. So if you'd like me to finish this dungeon, leave me some comments down below and say, yes, Paul, let's go do a live thing and let's kind of work it out and see if we can't come up with a whole dungeon here of something to play, some adventure we could play together. The Astonishing Random Tables, and I've already shown you that video. If you're new here, by the way, and you've not seen this one, just check the links right up here. There'll be a link to this book where I do a walkthrough of it, of the astonishing random tables that are in it. And number 7, right here, you already have this book probably on your bookshelf somewhere. And yes, there are random tables in there. And they're not terrible. They're not as expansive. They're not as expansive as the ones I have shown you. But it does give you a lot of little doohickey things. Like here, and here shows you here, where the stairs, right? You could come up with, you could build a dungeon where you're determining where the stairs are, or the chambers, right? How big the rooms are. So it does give you a little bit of that grittiness of things that you can look at. Like how many exits does it have? You have the type, you could have a planar gate. Right there. There's all kinds of planar gates that you can put in there. Let's say you rolled one up and you say, oh, conjuring room for summoning creatures used to investigate or defend the portal. That's interesting, right? There's all kinds of things. There's temple or shrine. It talks about strongholds, trap effects. So listen, if you don't want to go buy any of these other books, you don't have to, right? You probably already have it on your shelf, and you can check it out right here. It's right there on page 290, Random Dungeons, right there on your own bookshelf. So yeah, those are my 7 go-to books. I'd love to hear from you. What are your go-to resources? Do you just do random generators on the internet? Do you have books that you go to? Do you have any of these resources? I'd love to hear from you. Leave me some comments down below. And that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, there'll be more videos on random tables, how to use them, all those kind of good things, especially if you're a new Dungeon Master. And if you do me a favor, go ahead and click that thumbs up button. That tells me you like the video and you want more of them. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good day, everybody. And then